It's the GITA Interviews, the premier global IT solution podcast, where we talk to the CEOs and business leaders who are growing their companies through global partnerships. I'm your host, Emery Geosits, the Executive Director of the Global IT Alliance. Hi, and welcome to the GITA podcast. Today I'm joined from all the way in the Netherlands, and my guest is Marijke. And I don't speak Dutch. I speak Heineken, but I don't speak Dutch. So I'm happy to have Marijke say her last name so I don't butcher it. So Marijke, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, I'm Marijke Kasius. So it's a real Dutch name, I know.
I wouldn't have even gotten there. That's
yes,
great.
and I'm VP of the Netherlands for Bechtle Group. So that means I'm responsible for the 5 entities we have in the Netherlands with a portfolio of 800 million of IT. So,
Yeah. And that's quite the task. So how long have you been in this role, Marijke?
I've been in this particular role, since a year now. But I joined the Bechtle Group about 2.5 years ago by the acquisition of PQR, one of the entities that's located in the Netherlands. And that was the first managed services company that Bechtle bought outside of the DACH region. And before that, I was 6 years CEO of PQR, of the company that was acquired by Bechtle.
Right. And your story is great because you were involved in the launching of PQR. It was essentially your company. So talk to me a little bit about that journey, like going from, being in a role where it's your organization and you see the whole thing to a massive organization like Bechtle.
To start with, it felt like my own organization, but it wasn't when we look at the private equity perspective.
Sure.
So I was part of it, but it was private equity owned. And like 7 years ago, when I joined PQR was already 25 years old. But mostly in like transactional business, servers, storage, networking, and that area. So very transactional. And we had to make the move to recurring business, as a lot of companies need to do. But it's like also a DNA change of starting with recurring business and all the processes around it and how you build that. So also one part was like the maturity in processes, because it's a really a change when you have to be responsible for the coming 60 months instead of the deal right now. And when you make a mistake, it's a mistake today and not a mistake over 60 months that hurt you over 60 months. So when I started, we had to go through that as a company, but also through the financial statement, because also the money was spread out over 60 months. That's the idea of recurring business, obviously. But it's also a change in what you see at the results. So at a lot of points, there were changes, there were people involved, people that worked for a long time at the company that had like a new vision, new idea, private equity, as I mentioned before. So it was kind of a rough ride, I have to say. But I think in the end, it turned very well, and that was also part of that private equity party really believed in me. They gave me my trust, and I really believed that we could do it and that we could get to a managed service company. And then 1.5 years ago, PQR had the MSP of the Year award. And that felt for us also like the crown on the work, like we're really a managed service party now in the competitor landscape as well. And for Bechtle, on the one hand, like all the history with the recurring business and the transactional business, that was also a really good comparison addition to the other Bechtle companies that were already in the Netherlands. So so now we can serve everything under one roof. And in my new job, that's really nice to see. So we have like the devices, we have everything under our roof. We have also the project, we have the implementation, and we have the managed services and the software and the security. Right. So, well, where else to go?
Right. Full end to end. And what a monumental task to take your typical viewpoint of the channel of, I could deliver a laptop, I could deliver a server, to a true integration partner around services and everything else. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you're looking at your organization now, which is much larger, and how you make that shift for the whole organization? Because so many people are used to, not only from the perspective internally, but externally, how customers view Bekla and your entities within the Netherlands.
Yeah, so as in my new role, something is also changed in the partner perspective, because when we had like different entities that delivered different stuff, was for the bigger vendors, like, okay, we have like a partner program at this entity and a partner program at that entity, but now we have one voice to those big vendors. And when I say, well, when we add up like the revenue of all the entities, then we have a lot of revenue and a lot of market share at that particular vendor or the other vendor or the other vendor. So we can benefit the partner programs much more because we have something to say. We're not small entities. We're a big country. We have a large scale.
Right.
And that's something that's really changing in the voice to the vendors. But it's also a different voice to the customers, because we have everything under one roof. And yes, there are different entities with their own strategy. It's decentralized with their own managing director on it, but we can serve it within the company, within the partner certificate, the highest partner legislation, like the titanium black status and all those. So we can benefit from everything that we have to offer as a group. But we can serve it as our own entity and have like the customer attention as we need.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. So, we talked about where you came from and how you got to where you are right now. Can you talk to me a little bit? I mean, our industry, I don't need to tell you, is so heavily male and has been driven that way for so many years. Being a female in an industry, some might say it's a heavy lift, and the numbers are not even close to equal. So from a diversity standpoint and how you see your journey and how you see the future, talk to me a little bit about that from being a leader, female leader in our industry.
Yeah, so let me start like right now. It doesn't affect me anymore. I'm here, and it has never affected me in a way that people were against me or backholding or something. But right. I was different. I was different as a female. I was different at the way I looked at things, at the logic of things. And I think that is the most important part of having teams, that you find people with a different view on things, with a different background, with a different idea of solving a problem, of more analytic or more emotional or more strategic or whatever. So when you find a lot of people with different mindsets and form a team together, then you will get the best results. And I think that has always helped me in my career to play someone in that team. And yeah, sometimes with a different mindset or a view, because I'm different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So as you move this large organization with so many entities in it, I think you said 5, how do you bring that together to try to act as best possible as one serving the Netherlands?
Yeah, so within Bekla, we have a very decentralized strategy. So every entity has their own strategy, their own P&L, their own way of working. But we also have the opportunity to do things centralized. And what I'm doing is finding what we can do on a central level without affecting the decentral way. And for example, take recruitment. Why should you have like 5 recruiters at different entities that are fishing in the same pond in such a small country as the Netherlands? That doesn't make sense. So when you form like a central recruiting team, then you also have for people that want to do a career switch within the companies, and then we can keep them in the Bekla group. When that team is working together, then it's so valuable for the other companies, for the entities. So and even cross border, it's possible. So I'm looking at finding a centralized way and synergies in a centralized way without affecting the decentralization, because it's not like a plan to have one big big company that everything is adding up. I think it's for also for customers good to know that that everything is under one roof.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that it's necessary to be one big company with one P&L.
Right, right. Kind of like we can behave as you want us to, customer, because we've got all the tools to do it.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. As you look at our industry, and everyone loves to say AI, and everyone loves to say what we're doing, but at the same token, we have to worry about today and what we're doing today, and the future. If you look at the trajectory that's going on in the Netherlands, talk to me a little bit about that adoption of AI, or just where you see the technology headed in the next couple of years.
Yeah, so what we see in the Netherlands is that the Dutch companies are really early adapters of new technologies, of innovation. There's a lot of R&D money available, and Dutch companies are most of the time willing to step into new ideas and new technologies. You also see that big vendors have departments in the Netherlands to do their R&D there, find out how the Dutch will react, and then push it through the other companies. And that has to do something with being able to adapt to different ideas and to innovate quick. So when we look at the AI, and of course AI is a very big thing at the moment, and the biggest thing is that it's changed so quickly, so exponential quickly, that to keep up is hard, and to slow down is well, it's affecting a lot of companies as well.
Sure.
So, and what I see is that especially for a couple of segments like healthcare, for example, people are getting older and there are less younger people. So in the healthcare system, that will be more crowded in the coming years with elderly people. And we have less people which are able to do the healthcare stuff and to be able to work.
Sure.
So we have to do something with AI. For example, look at like an Apple Watch, what it can do already. And
Sure.
it's not even a medical device. And it's already measuring blood pressure and oxygen levels and whatever. So I think that in the coming future, the coming period of time, such AI possibilities will come up quicker, and also will help us with problems we have in finding the technology versus what we need as a human.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's interesting what you said about the Netherlands and the early adoption, and the fact that the manufacturers are using it for testing ground for R&D, et cetera. Because I think culturally, you're in a country that tells it like it is. If you're wearing an ugly sweater in the Netherlands, it's probably going to tell you that's an ugly sweater. So I feel like the fact that there's no sugarcoating the technology aspect of it, and telling the manufacturers, no, that's not going to work, inherent in your culture, I think also helps. What do you think about that? Do you think that's proving true?
That's definitely proven true.
Yeah.
And it's a cultural thing to also to immediately tell what you think of things, and
right.
It's sometimes hard, sometimes not nice, but it's clear.
It's one of my favorite things. I'm very conscious of what I wear whenever I'm in the Netherlands.
It's also an IT thing, right? It's 0 or 1. It's working or not.
Right. Right. Well, I got to tell you, in the short time that I've been around you and with you, one thing I noticed about your organization is there's almost an immediate belief in you and a trust in you. And I've seen that. Is there a specific methodology or process you go to when leading such a large organization in having them trust you and kind of have faith that you are the leader that they should follow?
Yeah, well, it's a hard question, because it's not something that I do. It's not that I say you have to trust me. It's
right.
People trust you or don't. But I think I invest a lot in also the relationship with people, and to truly understand why or what people are motivated by, and what they're followed by. And I think that's something that every leader has to do, is forming a team is you have to find what will drive people in your team. And sometimes they're not on the right place, but they're very capable people. So you can move them around. You can only do that by listening and truly listen in what they are capable of, and then find that also as in a value place in your team. And when you have also next to that a vision in where you want to go, and communicate very clearly in, I think we have to go there, I think we have to do that because of this and this, but the way how we are going to do it, I really need you, because you know best of HR, or you know best of finance, or you know best of sales, or you know best of operate. And then so come up with a plan, but I think we have to go here, but how are we going to do it?
Sure.
And then include the team as well. And then I think that's a formula that will give the best results.
Sure. I firmly believe that the best leaders in the world are born on April 23rd. Do you agree?
I definitely agree.
We're both born on April 23rd, but I'll keep moving. So coming off of this discussion about IT and the boring things that we do for our living, you've told me some great stories about travel with your family and your children and everything else. So tell me, any good trips coming up, any recent ones that you just passed? What's new and exciting for the family?
I really like to go to the States. One of the reasons is that in my former company, I had a department in Orlando. So I traveled back and forth, and I really loved the weather, of course, but also I like to see new cultures and to find out what other cultures are like. And so I really like to travel to America, and my kids as well.
That's great. So we met in Las Vegas, and you've been to Orlando. So we need to, as Americans, we need to do a lot better than Orlando and Las Vegas. We need to get you to New York, Chicago, Dallas, and all those other great places we have. So come on over whenever you're ready. Marijke, this has been great. I really appreciate you joining me today. This is the GITA podcast. Please check out GITA.com for more information. And Marijke, you have a great evening, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the GITA Interviews. To find out more about the Global IT Alliance, please visit www.gita.com or follow us for more great interviews.